And now, America's healthcare advocate, Kerry Hall.
Hello, America. Welcome to America's Healthcare Advocate Show, broadcasting coast to coast across the USA from Alaska to Florida all the way to Hawaii. 294 affiliates strong. Thanks to all of you in our listening audience. Our producer, Ms. Karen Carson. I'm your host, Kerry Hall. This is your show, America. Thank you for joining us and making us one of the most listened to talk shows throughout the United States. If you want to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, you can do that at AHA Radio Show. That's AHA Radio Show. All of these shows are posted on the podcast platforms: Google Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Pandora, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and YouTube. The reason I tell you that is if somebody wants to go back and listen to this again, or you want to tell somebody, hey, there's a great show up there on this topic or that topic, you can go back up to the podcast platforms. We put them up there each week. There's a full description of what the show is, and it's an opportunity to listen to it again or tell somebody else about it if they want to go up and listen to it. If you have specific questions about health insurance, if you're chronologically challenged and you're looking for Medicare, you can call the lovely Joyce Thompson at RPS Benefits by Design. She is an expert. 877-385-2224. It is open enrollment season for Medicare, and she's happy to help you. Also, if you are looking for employer-sponsored health care anywhere in the country, RPS Benefits by Design, Jim Lodge is happy to help you. He will do that. And if you want to contact me, you can do that at healthradio.us. Healthradio.us, that's the website. Send me an email. I answer each and every one that I get. I get a lot of them, but I answer each one of them. So I'm happy to help you in any way that I can. We had a gentleman a couple of weeks ago whose wife had a serious cancer issue, and we got her into a hospital that had a trial that may make a big difference for her. So if we can help you, we're happy to do that. Again, the website, healthradio.us. All right, joining me for, is this the fifth year we've done this, Ron?
I believe it is. I think we are, I'm an old veteran now doing this. I think this is the fifth year that we've been able to do this on the Kerry Hall show, and it's really a privilege for us to be able to get on this radio show and all your different podcasts to be able to talk about the federal employee program.
And that's what we're going to talk about today, the FEP federal program. And we have a new party joining us today, Brent Waymeyer. Brent, welcome.
Thanks, Kerry. Pleasure to be here with you today. And first time for me, but I know Ron's he's a seasoned vet,
you'll do very well. So the show today, both these gentlemen from Blue KC are here. Brent is the Director of Labor, Motors, and National Accounts, and Ron Miller is Sales Consultant, Labor at Liaison. So they work very closely with the FEP, the Federal Employees Program. That's what we're going to talk about today. Why are we doing this now? Like we do it every year, because open enrollment for this program begins on November 14th. So the idea is to get the show up. But again, it's up on the podcast platform. So if you want to, what are the benefits going to be this year? How do I enroll? Maybe I'm not happy where I'm at, and I want to move over to Blue Cross, which has 97% satisfaction rate with the federal employees that are on the program. If you want to do that, information will be up there on the podcast platform. So let's just start there, Ron, with the number one health insurance choice for federal employees, retirees, and their families across the country.
Right, and across the country, and even locally. Locally, we have over 60% of the market share here. So all the different families and all the different federal agencies have trusted us with their health care throughout the year. And as you said, we have the largest network in Kansas City. We have one of the largest overall networks for all of our members. And one of the good things about FEP and having Blue Cross and Blue Shield, these plans travel wherever you travel. You go out of state, you go to Florida to see your parents or wherever you may be, these plans are going to travel with you. They have the flexibility to really allow you to do a lot of different things with your health plans, and they fit different needs. And we have a plan that will fit whatever the need is with your family. And that's kind of what we try to gear to. We try to get people in the right plan for their family and how they utilize their health insurance, because everybody utilizes their health insurance differently.
And we're going to talk about those options today. Brent, you've got 46,632 members here in Kansas City. That's pretty strong. That's a lot of people. You don't realize there are that many people involved in the federal government here, but that's a lot of folks that are here in Kansas City.
That is a lot of folks, Kerry. We're proud to have that. Like Ron said, over 60% of the federal employees and retirees in the Kansas City area are enrolled locally through Blue Cross Blue Shield of Kansas City and the Federal Employee Program. And we're real pleased to have them, and we're doing everything we can to keep those members. And like Ron said, over 99% of those members stay with us year over year.
I think that speaks volumes, doesn't it? I mean, when you think about that, if you have a business and 99% of your clients are retained, I'd say you're doing something right.
And there's a lot of thing that goes into that, Kerry. It's not just the benefits that we have, and we'll talk about this later, but it's also the customer service that we provide and all the other different avenues that we have for our members to make sure that they get to utilize their insurance the best. So we really feel like we cover everything.
So Brent, let's talk a little bit about that world-class customer service advocates here. Talk about how that works here in Kansas City and what and because one of the things that Blue Cross of Kansas City is known for is its excellent customer service. You've won the J.D. Power Award in past years for best health insurance company in Kansas City customer service-wise. Chat a little bit about what's available to the federal employees and that they do have great customer service. Brent?
Well, they do, and that designation is not easy to achieve. It's a world-class certification, and our customer advocates have calls that are surveyed, and 85% of those calls have to meet a designation from that member as very satisfied on the call, and that call has to be reserved on that first call into that customer advocate. So it's a high target for those advocates to reach, and we've got a number of our folks in Kansas City at Blue KC that have that designation.
Yeah, you do. Go ahead.
And to go on what, like Brent was saying, is that so that's one of the good things about us. When you call in, we are going to resolve your issue. You're not going to have to keep calling in 2, 3, 4 times to get an issue resolved. 85% of the people who call in on the first time, as Brent mentioned, get a resolved solution. Call in what I need to get fixed, it gets fixed, and people get to go on with their day.
Yeah, and this just isn't for federal employees, by the way. I had an incident here about a month ago where we had to change checking accounts because we had some fraudulent activity. And because we had it set up on automatic draft, I called customer service. They answered me on like the 5th ring. The first woman I talked to wasn't the one that handled it. She moved me right to somebody. That woman stayed on the phone with me till we got the whole thing done. I was like, wow, I didn't have to go through 15 voice prompts and listen to dial 5, dial 6, do this, do that. Boom. It was a live person that answered the phone. Live person took me to the person that could fix the problem, and the problem got fixed. And I was like, wow. And I had another question, a follow-up that on a life insurance policy that I have through Blue Cross as well, and they got me to the right people about the life insurance policy. We got that solved. So, I can speak to that because that's in today's world, there aren't many places that do that. I mean, seriously, when you think about it, it just doesn't happen anymore.
There's not. You don't get that anymore in a lot of businesses, and so we take great pride in that. And as Ron mentioned, he hears that in the field a lot when he's out doing meetings about members that get that service, they get their issue resolved on the first call, and it's a big differentiator, and that's why 99% of our members stay with us year over year.
Yeah, and you've got 4 people listening. This is kind of interesting. Ann B., she's the 3rd time winner of this award, 2nd consecutive year. Julie M., 4th consecutive year. Laura, 6th consecutive year. And Janie M., 1 year. We're not putting their last names in here. But those are just 4 of the reps that right here, and I always say this, they're not sitting, someplace in New York or California. They're right here on Main Street. They understand what's going on here in Kansas City. They know where the hospitals north of the river are. You don't know what north of the river is if you're in New York.
That's right.
Okay, so it does make a big difference. So that's important.
That's right. And their manager, Trish Mihurin, she is also a world-class customer service advocate for 6 years in a row, and that makes a big difference when their management has that same designation as what she's expecting the team to have.
That's a pretty good team. We're going to come back after the break. If you have information, if you need information, you can call 1-800-411-BLUE. If you are a federal employee, you're looking to make a switch, or you need help with what you're doing, 1-800-411-BLUE, or the website fepblue.org. fepblue.org. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after the break. You're listening to America's Healthcare Advocate, broadcasting here on the HI Radio Network, coast to coast across the USA. We'll be right back with more.
Tell me, darling, am I right? Am I right?
Welcome back. You're listening to America's Healthcare Advocate Show, broadcasting coast to coast across the USA here on the HIU Radio Network. You can find out more about us by visiting our website, healthradio.us, healthradio.us. So you have a question, comment, something I can help you with, go to the website, send me an email. My producer, Miss Karen Carson. I'm your host, Kerry Hall. In studio with me, Ron Waymeyer from Blue KC and Ron Miller from Blue KC. This is our annual FEP, Federal Employee Open Enrollment Show. That open enrollment runs November 14th through December 12th. So that's your window. You want to make sure, look, if you're unhappy, think about this. If they can retain 99% of the people that are currently on the plan with Blue Cross, they must be doing something right. So if you're unhappy where you are, you can make that move from November 14th to December 12th. You might want to take a look at that. You might find that might be beneficial to you. By the way, there are virtual health fairs being hosted, and there are a host of dates here, starting November 1st, running all the way through December 5th. Various ones that you can go to virtually, log on. We're going to post all of that up on our website. Is that on the website, Ron, now?
That is. If you go to fepblue.org and go to find an event, these will be listed out on the FEP Blue website. So go out to fepblue.org, go to find an event, and these events will be out there listed. There's separate ones. There's the FEP Virtual Health Fairs that Blue Cross and Blue Shield Association and us will be doing ourselves. We'll also be involved in Benefeds. Benefeds handle all of your ancillary products, your vision and your dental
And we're going to
products.
talk about those in
Yes.
the upcoming
Yeah.
segment. Yeah.
So yeah, these are all listed out there on the website on fepblue.org. Find an event.
Yeah, so there are a host of different dates. Okay, so there's something that'll probably fit for everyone. So again, fepblue.org, and then click on the Find Event. You can attend a virtual seminar. So Brent, the people that are going to present this then are going to go over the various benefits. Is it interactive, or are they just putting information out for people to listen to?
Yeah, they're just putting information out so people can listen to it. But there are a number, as you guys have said, a number of dates that start at the end of October and run all the way through open season. And open season runs from November 14th through Monday, December 12th.
Yeah, so this is a great way if you want to learn, you want to learn about the benefits, the difference between this plan and the other plans that are out there, and what Blue Cross is offering. This is a great way to do that. You can go up onto these virtual seminars and do just exactly that.
And really kind of supplement to that, as you said, Kerry, with the change in COVID and everything going virtual, we know that a lot of people like that virtual environment, and so we wanted to make sure that was still available for them. On these virtual things that we're going to be doing, you will have a chance to ask questions, and people will be able to answer those questions as you ask those to them. So they will have people there to answer your questions. They will be available. So that's just another venue. And then also, a lot of the agencies are now having FEP open season fairs back open in person. So check with your benefit officer at your location to see if you guys are going to have one in person. And if you are, a Blue Cross and Blue Shield rep will be there to be on site for you.
And answer questions, whatever they need to do.
Correct.
So this is kind of an important thing. Yeah, it's really funny because I had Dr. Sweat on here right after COVID really started ramping up, and I said, one of the big problems that as a broker agent over the years we faced with getting people to use virtual care was they just wouldn't do it. If we got 10% of them to do it, it was like a miracle, right? So I asked him, I said, well, what does that move to? He said it's up 90%. So one of the few good things that came out of COVID was people learned how to use virtual and actually found out, this works out pretty well. I can connect, with the doctor, or in this case, go to one of these seminars. I don't have to leave my house. You can sit there in your pajamas if you want to and do the thing. So it works out pretty nicely for everybody. So let's switch gears a little bit and let's talk a little about pharmacy benefits. Talk about the pharmacies you all are at, because it looks like you're at almost every major pharmacy throughout the KC Metro here.
Yeah, so all the major pharmacies in the Kansas City Metro we are affiliated with. So Walgreens, CVS, Walmart, Costco's, what else am I? CVS, I say CVS. So all the major pharmacies in your area are in your network, which is a great thing to have. And also check if you have a mom and pop pharmacy that you go to. We do have a lot of the smaller pharmacies that are in our network as well. So we have about 95% or so of all the pharmacies in the Kansas City Metro in there. So if you have a question, you're not sure, go to the website, fepblue.org, go underneath the pharmacy tab, and they have find a provider. And then you can find a provider and double check to see that if you have a small pharmacy is in the network. So the fepblue.org is always a good spot to start from.
Yeah, and so like if you're in Cameron, all right, and there's a prominent pharmacy up there. It's a family-owned pharmacy. It's been there forever. I'm sure if you go up on the website and, you're a federal employee there and you want to look at that, you can. That information is up there. You could probably also call 1-800-411-BLUE if you had to, and they'd be happy to help you with that as well. So that should work out pretty well for folks. So let's talk a little bit about now preventative care. It's going to be covered through your preferred provider.
So all the mandated preventative services are covered at 100%. So on all three of the plans, regardless of the plans you go to, and we're going to get into those later, whether it's a standard option, basic option, or a Blue Focus option, you have preventative care. All those preventative cares are covered at 100%. So we really recommend our members to go and get your health screenings. All right, go and get your mammograms. Go and get your
colonoscopy. There's one everybody likes to do.
Yes.
That's true.
No, they don't. Karen's looking shaking her head. No, they don't like to go get that done. But
in the preventive care is something that is so important right now in healthcare. Because of what happened with the pandemic, and a lot of people weren't not getting those services that they needed to have. And so it's imperative that they have those services, that they get those services, and so those services are covered at 100% in all the products that are offered.
Yeah, and if they're on Blue Focus, they can actually earn $150 annually for completing the annual physical. And if I read this correctly, that means that they can use Blue 365 Partners, Reebok, Skechers, TRX products, etc., Blue Apron. That's all part of that?
That is all.
That's kind of a sweet deal.
That is all part of it. So usually, on the incentive programs, you're only able to use those for qualifying medical events. Okay?
Right.
But now OPM has said, hey, these people can also use it as long as they use it in your guys' Blue 365 Partners. As you said, Carrie, Skechers, Reebok, Blue Apron. I mean, and there are
pretty good deal.
Yeah, there are other food services out there. There are other services out there. So there's a ton of places that you can utilize that $150. It's not just at the pharmacy anymore.
Yeah, and so that's just for for just completing their annual physical. So A, it's free. You don't have to pay to go get it done. B, you're going to pay them.
Right.
That's right. Like a hard deal to beat, Brent.
That's a great deal. And like you said, you can use that money at those different companies and however you please to use it.
Yep, it works pretty well. All right, when we come back from the break, now we're going to get into the plan designs. We're going to talk about there are 3 different plans. We're going to talk about the options, how all of that works. And then in the last segment, we'll talk about the ancillary benefits, dental, vision, all the rest of it. So stay tuned if you want to learn about that. We're going to do that. If you have questions, 1-800-411-BLUE or the website, fepblue.org. Open enrollment November 14th through December 12th. Don't miss it. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after the break. You're listening to America's Healthcare Advocate, broadcasting here on the HI Radio Network, coast to coast across the USA. Welcome back. You're listening to America's Healthcare Advocate Show, broadcasting coast to coast across the USA. Here on the HIE Radio Network, you can find out more about us by going to the website, healthradio.us. Don't forget the podcast platforms. I mean, listen to these guys is like drinking out of a fire hose, right? I mean, you're trying to listen to all these benefits. We're going to get into the plan designs here. So if you want to go back up and hear it, or maybe it's your husband needs to hear it, your wife, whoever. Google Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, TuneIn, iHeart, Amazon Music, Pandora, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and YouTube. We're on all of them, so you can go back up there. The show will be posted as FEP, Federal Employees Program, and you can listen to the program there. My producer, the always perfect Miss Karen Carson. I'm your host, Kerry Hall. In the studio with me, Brent Waymeyer, Director of Labor, Motor, and National Accounts, and Ron Miller, both from Blue KC. He is a senior sales consultant for these products. So we're talking again, as I said, about the FEP Federal Employee Program that's available here in Kansas City for all 46,000. Actually, we've got 46,000, but there are more people out there. So if you're looking to make a change, this is an opportunity to do that. Open enrollment is November 14th through December 12th. If you have questions, 1-800-411-BLUE. That's pretty easy, 1-800-411-BLUE. The website, fepblue.org. You can find an event up there if you want to do the virtual. There's a ton of information up there if you're interested in that, and they are happy to help you if you have questions. All right, let's kind of dive in here and just talk about the three different plan designs. Start off, Ron, with that.
I think Brent's going to talk about something a little bit.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll talk about. We do have three plans. And those plans are designed to meet the needs of all the employees, of all the federal employees. And the first one's called Standard Option. It's kind of the old standby. It's been there a long time, and we've got quite a few people enrolled in that product. It's your standard PPO type of a product with benefits of in-network and out-of-network, but it has, like we mentioned earlier in the segment, it has preventive care, it has all the wellness benefits as well, but it includes all of the same network that we've been talking about with 90+% providers in that network. So it's like I said, a standard PPO network with great benefits.
Yeah, it uses, as Brent was saying, our Preferred Care Blue network, which at Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City is our largest network.
Yeah, and that's almost every hospital in the city that I know of.
If there's a doctor that's on Blue Cross and Blue Shield, they have Preferred Care Blue. So that is our largest network, as Brent was saying. And then our next option is the basic option. All right, basic option is a copay based. So that option is a little different than the standard option. The standard option has a deductible that you have to meet. Basic option doesn't have a deductible. It's just copay based. So a lot of times people say, I just need to know exactly what it is that I'm going to be out of pocket. Sometimes people feel a little leery. They feel a little nervous. Like, what is the deductible? What goes to the deductible? Is it going to be my hospital? Is it going to be my pharmacy? Is it going to be... So the deductible can get a little confusing for people. Basic option, no deductible. You're just going to have copays. You're going to pay those copays. Then everything else will be paid at 100%.
So they don't have a deductible, and they don't have coinsurance on the basic option.
They don't have a deductible. They do not have a deductible. They do have a few minor things that have coinsurance on some of their lab works.
That's
does
it.
have coinsurance, but no deductible.
Well, that sounds like that's pretty impressive. So what's the third option?
And then the third option is our FEP Blue Focus. That is new. This is our third year for FEP Blue Focus, and we really brought it out. There's a lot of different age gaps in the federal employee population, and so which one that we really felt like we weren't meeting was the younger FEP employee, young, right out of college, 27 or so, that really wanted, like, I didn't really want to spend it. I've got to get a health insurance plan. I don't use it, but I need the basics. And FEP Blue Focus has all of that. It has the basics. It gets you have virtual visits on there, so you can do virtual care if you like, hey, I don't want to go see anybody. I just want to do teledoc. Then you can do that, all right? And so it has all those basic things that all those members need at a lower cost. And as you said earlier, it also has that incentive of $150 that really incentivizes that member that is a little more active to use stuff like Blue Apron and to use stuff that they use for TRX to work out with. So it really is kind of focused towards that young, active.
See, it must be because I didn't even know what the hell TRX was. So now- but I'm the guy sitting here with white hair, so there you go. Okay, so that really is focused toward the younger crowd, so that those are things that they can relate to, and like you said, they're if they don't need all of these heavily slanted benefit programs, there's some great programs.
Right.
If you need it, you got it. But
Right.
if they don't, then they can save some money, get the program, and still do well.
Yeah, and it still has all the pharmacy programs. It doesn't have a mail order program. The basic option, which the standard option has a mail order program. All right, so if you have any chronic conditions that you have on a normal basis, you can use the mail order and save yourself money by doing that. Basic option has mail services on some stuff. But basic option also has, Carrie, and we haven't really talked about that too much, is, for people who have Medicare, all right,
Yeah,
there's
let's
a
get into
whole
that.
different population, right? So if you have basic option and you have Medicare Part B, you're eligible to get $800 of your Medicare Part B premiums paid back to you. All right.
Run that by me one more time. They're going to get
We're going to
$800
give
back.
you $800 back towards your Medicare Part B premiums. All right. What's the good thing about having Part B? If you have Part B and you have any of these plans, you're not going to have any out-of-pocket expenses other than your pharmacy benefits. Okay. So not only you have Part B, we're going to pay you $800 of your Part B premium. And I know this is a shocker, but Part B went down this year. It went down $5.20. Last year was $170. This year in 2023, it's going to be $164.90. So you also thank OPM, thank the government for that. But yeah, so
Yeah, it's very unusual we see anything going down coming out of the federal
That's right.
government.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's some good news. Now, there's also a $50 incentive here for just completing the Blue Health Assessment. What is that, and how does that work?
right. So there's one thing that we always try to do. So for all the Blue Cross and Blue Shield members, or all those people who want to be Blue Cross and Blue Shield members, we have a My Blue portal. Okay. Now this is separate. My Blue portal, you can go out. I call it your personal website. You can go out there. You can see your explanation of benefits. You can see your healthcare costs. You can see all the things that you utilize on a daily basis. Where's my deductible stand? How much copays have I? How close am I to my out-of-pocket max? So My Blue portal is a great way to go out there and just check on all the stuff you need. Has this claim been paid? You go to My Blue portal, you can see, well, I don't see an EOB for it. Hasn't been paid yet. So it really gives you an idea on what you're doing. And so that's on all the plans. And so also on the wellness, going forward on the wellness, on the incentive, you have an incentive on both the basic and the standard option that if you complete your Blue Health Assessment, you go out on fepblue.org, do your Blue Health Assessment, we're going to send you a $50 debit card that you can use towards qualified medical things. You know, your copays, your pharmacies, any of your healthcare expenses you can utilize towards that. And not only that, we also have incentive for people if you want to do more, all right? All of us have a little stress in our life. We have stress coaching, hypertension, exercise, asthma, weight management. If you do 3 more of those online coaching, you can earn up to another $120 towards your $150. So I'm not good at math, but I think that's $170 of
That's
free
right.
money.
No,
That's
that's
right.
a lot of incentives, Brent.
That's right. It is, and all of that is accessible through the portal, like Ron was mentioning. They can get into that, and they can pick and choose different things that they can earn those incentives for. And like you said, you can earn those, and you can use that money on qualified medical expenses.
And so, how long does it take to do the health assessment? Is it like 15 minutes, 10 minutes? What is it?
Yeah,
Ron?
let's say that you struggle with using the computer. I'll say it's 15
You're looking
minutes.
at me when you say that. I just want to point that out. Okay.
Not directly.
Yeah. uh-huh.
So yeah, it's going to take you. It's going to take you 15 minutes. all
Okay,
right? It's
that's not bad.
Yeah, it's going to.
$50 for 15 minutes doesn't sound like a particularly bad
It
deal.
doesn't sound
That's
like a
easy
bad
payday.
So,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Right?
And then the other incentives that you go further down the line.
And then the other incentives that you go further down the line, they are an ongoing thing. So say you get into the hypertension, it wants you to check your blood pressure and
Right.
stuff, and so you can have a landmark of where you are. And if you do that every quarter, then you're going to earn that money. All right, so
That's a pretty good deal.
keep
So-
track of your exercise, all these things that you can do.
So the My Blue portal, that's it?
My Blue portal.
Okay, it's all up there on My Blue portal. The open enrollment period is November 14th through December 12th. If you're not happy where you are, you want to look at something different, then again, I'm going to go back. You've got 99% of the people happy and staying on the plan, that must say something. So it might behoove you to take a look at the Blue KC plan to see how it works. You can also call 1-800-411-BLUE, the website fepblue.org, fepblue.org, and they're having those virtual seminars. So if you're considering this, we're going to post all those seminars on the website. They're also on the Blue KC website if you want to learn more about the plan and what's available. We'll be right back after the break. You're listening to America's Healthcare Advocate, broadcasting here on the HI Radio Network, coast to coast across the USA. Stay tuned. We've got more. Welcome back. You're listening to America's Healthcare Advocate, broadcasting coast to coast across the fruited plain here on the HI Radio Network. You can find out more about us by going to the website healthradio.us. Once again, I remind you, these shows are posted on all the podcast platforms: Google, Spotify, Spreaker, TuneIn, iHeart, Amazon Music, and Pandora, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and YouTube. So, and we put descriptions up there so you'll know what you're looking for. This is going to be the Blue KC Federal Employees Open Enrollment Show. That'll be posted up there. You want to listen to this or tell somebody about it. Maybe you're thinking, hey, maybe we need to make a change. Well, this is a great way to go up and listen to what's going to be available. All that information is going to be on the podcast platform for this particular show. 1-800-411-BLUE is the phone number. If you have questions, they are happy to help you. World-class customer service. They're happy to help you in any way they can. Open enrollment November 14th through December 12th. That's your window if you're a federal employee to make a change. You want to get off of what you're on, this is a great way to make that move. The website, fepblue.org, fepblue.org. Also, all of the virtual seminars they're doing, and they've got, I think there are like 15 of these things they're doing at all kinds of different dates and different times. If you go up on the website, and what do they click on to go to see when the virtuals are?
Find an event.
Okay, find an event, okay, and it'll tell you when they are, and you can sign up for one of those. They are going to be interactive, so you can type in questions if you got questions, and they're happy to answer those for you. So, all right, so we've got some good news here. We've got dental and vision benefits this year, and there are no premium increases. Am I right or wrong?
That is correct.
That's pretty good news.
That is very good news. That's you don't get to say that very often.
No, yeah. Well, let's see. We got Part B going down by $5. We got no increase in dental and vision, so there is some good news here.
There is some good news here.
Yeah.
And so, having the offer, being able to offer dental and vision to our members, along with our 3 different products, we really feel like it gives our members a chance to kind of integrate all of their healthcare into one plan, right? So, hey, if you have us as your carrier, you can also have us as your dental and vision carrier as one, and kind of just lump everything together in one thing. So, on our FEP Dental, all right, we have 2 dental plans. We have a high option and we have a standard option. The standard option has a $2,500 benefit per year, and then on the high option, it is $3,000.
That's pretty generous. There aren't too many dental plans out there, $2,500 and $3,000, Brent.
That's right. Most of them cap out around $1,000,
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that's pretty rich benefit.
That's a very rich benefit. And the other big thing is, which is almost unheard of, is that there's no waiting period for crowns, bridges, implants, or dentures.
Well, that is unheard of. It's not
Right.
kind of unheard of. That is unheard of.
Well, that's a key thing, because a lot of dental plans don't have implant coverage, and so that's a key feature of the FEP dental plan that's available to members. And then you couple that with the $3,000 annual max, it's a great benefit.
So, well, I want to repeat that again. There are no waiting periods for this stuff?
No waiting periods. Nope.
So you move to the Blue Cross plan and you need a crown, a bridge, or you need an implant, and you can get it done immediately once the plan year starts.
Correct. Day one.
That's
Yeah.
that's
Day one. So it's again, it's a fantastic big benefit. We have a large nationwide network as well for you to utilize. Go out to fepblue.org, go to the dental tab, go to search a provider, and you can find all your providers there as well. So it really kind of sets up for having, it's one of those things when dental first came in, oh wow, it's been a long time. We were not initially in, but then when we got in, we were really able to start. Members really said, hey, you know what? I trust Blue Cross with my medical, and so I'm really going to really add dental in there as well. So I kind of have a little synergy in a lot of my healthcare that I utilize on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, and those are some pretty remarkable benefits in terms of what's being offered. So if they go to the dental tab and they want to look up their dentist, That's where they would find their dentist on there.
That's where they would go.
And if they're looking, Brent, for a specialist, if they're, let's say, hey, you know what, I do think I want to get implants, or I do think I do need to get that crown or bridge done. That's where they can find a specialist on there by using that tab.
Same place, yep.
So any place in and around the metro. So whether they're in Cameron or whether they're here in Brookside or whether they're over in Overland Park, it doesn't matter. That you'll have everything up there for them. They'll be able to find it.
Yep, Johnson County, Wyandotte County, even if you're in Salina County.
Okay. All right. So let's go quickly before we're about running out of time here. But vision benefits this year.
Yeah, vision benefits. So again, vision benefits. There is no rate increase on the vision benefit. It is a great way to. You get a free comprehensive routine eye exam on both the high option and the standard option at zero copay for you. Okay. Also, we have a enhanced frame benefit. You can have a free if you use our eyeglass or lens provider, you
Right.
don't have to pay for the frame itself. Okay. But if say that you would like to have a nice pair of Oakleys or what have you, we have increased that benefit from $130 to $140.
Okay.
That's going to go towards that frame allowance. Now, also, you can use that in lieu of glasses. If you wear contacts, you don't wear glasses. Well, I wear contacts, Ron. I don't wear glasses. What do you have for me? So you can use that money in lieu of glasses for contacts.
That's pretty decent benefit, so it works out pretty well. All right, so folks need to know, once again, Brent, that the open enrollment period is November 14th, December 12th, right?
That is correct.
And if they have questions, they can call
You call
1-800-411-BLUE.
That's right.
And they'll be happy to help them. They'll chat with them there. Again, the open enrollment period is November 14th to December 12th. They've got 3 plans they're offering. You just heard them describe pretty generous benefits on the dental and on the vision that are available to you with no increases this year. There are a lot of incentives. You know, if you're chronologically challenged, you're doing the Medicare, you chance to pick up $800 on the Part B. It's kind of hard to argue with. So once again, the phone number, 1-800-411-BLUE, the website, fepblue.org, open enrollment November 14th through December 12th. If you have questions, they are happy to help you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I leave you with this thought from Dr. Martin Luther King. Americans must learn to live together as brothers and sisters, or we will surely perish together as fools. Truer words were never spoken. Thank you for listening. Goodbye, America.
And I know just what